Hi, my name is Sean Guillory, and for EDUC 8142-2, this is my proposed solutions in discussing adequate yearly progress. So, what is this adequate yearly progress we speak of? AYP was designed to monitor the progress made of students in hopes of closing the achievement gap. It calls for students to demonstrate proficiency in the areas of reading, language arts, and mathematics, as well as graduation and/or attendance rates, depending on the grade level. What I'm going to focus on right now is primarily in my state, which is the state of Georgia. The Georgia Department of Education's website keeps track of AYP over various school years. Schools making and not making AYP, graduation rates, needs improvement schools, as well as school improvement plans are all listed and of course are available for public to view. What we're going to do now is take a look at some of the tables, and what these tables are going to illustrate is how AYP has been impacted in several Georgia schools for the past few years. Table 1 shows the Georgia schools making AYP since the year 2003. Now, 2003 to 2005, basically we're still using the QCC standards and assessments, but now we've gone to the GPS, which is the Georgia Performance Standards and Assessments from 2006 to 2011. I want you to pay particularly close attention to what you see in 2009. As you can see, is an 86% rate of schools that made AYP in the state of Georgia in 2009, and now you look at 2011, this previous school year, and you see a significant drop-off that occurred, and it makes you wonder, how did this happen? One thing that happened that we can basically attest to is the fact that the math curriculum in the state of Georgia had changed. Prior to 2010, Georgia was using the typical math formula where you start off with Algebra 1, then you move on to Geometry, and then you move on to Algebra 2, and then Algebra 3. Now it's been changed to a Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, Math 4 curriculum, and if you ask a lot of teachers and even some of the students, they will tell you that the academic rigor has increased exponentially going from one type of math curriculum to the next in terms of the Algebra, Geometry, Algebra 2, now to this Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, etc. So a lot of people feel that this could be a potential reason for this drop-off in adequate yearly progress between 2009 to 2011. Now, this was covering all of the Georgia schools. Now I want to pay particularly close attention to Georgia high schools. This is where I teach. I work in high school. You can see that the numbers are significantly different than they are from the overall Georgia schools making AYP. As you can see here, 2007, 2009, both of them were in the mid 50% range, but now as you look again, 2009, 2011, significant drop-off. Only 30% of schools in the state of Georgia made adequate yearly progress. This is a significant problem. Alright, and it's important to find out why exactly has this occurred. Could it just be related to the whole math curriculum, or could it be some other factors that could be involved in this? Table 3 shows Georgia Title I schools making AYP. Now, we know that socioeconomic status plays a significant role in many school districts, and it's important to note exactly how this can impact schools making AYP. Basically, we know that many of these schools may not be privy to the same resources as some upper echelon schools may be, and this could play a factor as to why some schools are not making AYP. As you can see here, in 2009, the number was 86.3% of Georgia Title I schools making AYP, but look at the drop-off to 2011. Significant drop, nearly a 30% drop, going from 86% all the way down to 59%. The question is, what is going on and what can be done in order to bring those scores back up? Now, what researchers say? Hunt and colleagues, 2009, stated that many of these schools in urban communities are often those without the level of resources needed in order to address the academic issues brought to light under No Child Left Behind. In addition, they stated this can often lead to morale problems from top to bottom, as well as a downward spiral of emotions. Now, this morale is not just impacting the students, but also impacting the teachers, because teachers are at their wits' end. They feel, what more can they do in order to help their students be successful and to help their schools reach AYP? One final dilemma discussed by Hunt and his colleagues involved the special education subgroup. During their study, the general consensus among the teachers surveyed was that it was unfair for special needs students to be held to the same standards and required to take the same assessments, and unrealistic that they would meet the criteria outlined with No Child Left Behind legislation. Now, as I illustrated earlier, graduation rate plays into the whole concept of adequate yearly progress, and speaking particularly for my school, I know that our graduation rate was lowered because they do have that special education subgroup within the severe and profound students who have to take what is known as the Georgia Alternative Assessment. And these scores actually hinder or count against us as far as our graduation test rates, because we do have to include those students within our subgroup. This is a humorous clip I found from the Simpsons cartoon show that actually talks about standardized testing and what we as teachers basically have to go through on a yearly basis, especially in terms of trying to make AYP.
Withdrawn. VPAP is part of the federal government's No Child Left Alone Act. It'll be a rewarding day of pencil sharpening and eyes on your own paper keeping.
Cut the horse balls, Seymour. Your scores on this test will determine how much money this suck shack gets for years to come. So we will spend every moment of the next 2 weeks drilling the questions and answers into your soft little skulls. Shall you do
Okay, children, answers to the standardized test fall into 12 basic patterns. Repeat after me. A caca, dabica, a cacaca.
A caca, dabica, a cacaca.
Number 2. Dabica, a dada, batacat.
Dabica, a dada, batacat.
Now, I showed that video just to kind of illustrate why we feel that a lot of times we're doing students a disservice. Alright? Because the mandates and standards that have to be met, teachers are oftentimes teaching to the test and not necessarily covering the material for students to know and fully grasp. In a sense, it's as though we're only providing them with a limited amount of information. As this clip from The Simpsons showed, is pretty much how many schools are, where we're no longer trying to teach students the various concepts of helping them fully understand the totality of the curriculum. We're now just teaching them what they need to know to pass the test and nothing more. The website I found to be really helpful, and I actually have a video that I'm going to show later on, comes from Edu2.mp4. I came across this just through one of these search engines, and come to find out there's a lot of really good information that's present on here. This is the main website here. Let's just scroll down a little bit, and as you can see here at the top, there's various things you can look for. Browsing by grade level, you can browse by core strategies, videos, there's a few blogs, community, schools that work, and then of course there's always the search box up here at the top. In addition to that, if you go to the video library, as you can see illustrated here, you can go through, select a variety of topics. You can even put in a few search terms, or you can even pick the grade level in which you want to search. And then of course there's various videos here talking about things like differentiated instruction, reteaching activities, which are very important, how to collaborate, case studies, and just various things. It's something to play around with. Obviously, if you look at here at the bottom, there's a plethora of pages you can go to find some really good information. In addition to that, Edu2.mp4 also provides you with blog websites. Since I am doing my study for this particular module on adequate yearly progress, as you can see here, there's a few blogs that actually talk about how AYP measures up and things like that. And of course this one in particular, I'll just scroll here real quick, as you can see a few more of these in terms of No Child Left Behind, things like that. There's a few pages on that. One that I did want to bring some attention to is this blog on why adequate yearly progress needs revising. And of course I'm just going to click on that. Just give it a second to go in. And these authors just talk about why it's important for No Child Left Behind and adequate yearly progress to see some revisions. And of course you can get some commentary here at the bottom. Some people typically agree with the authors were saying, others may not. But this is a really good website, really good for educators to just go through and I think it can provide something for everybody. I really enjoy using this site. I hope to use it more again in the future, as I only was able to go through a small portion of it, but I really do think that there is a great deal of resources there for teachers to use at their disposal, and I'm glad I came across this site, and I, like I said, intend to use it more in the future. What I want to do now is take a look at a few clips. But before I get to these clips, just want to discuss what are some proposed solutions. What can we do to not only help alleviate some of the stress that's caused by trying to meet AYP, but what can we do to help meet that? Help meet AYP. Modifications to No Child Left Behind, as well as alterations to the requirements for making adequate yearly progress, have often been mentioned. Strategies to increase student achievement should be reviewed and implemented. A few of these strategies we can basically talk about include differentiated instruction, incorporation of technology, content literacy instruction, providing effective test-taking strategies, and taking into account social support, socioeconomic status of students, and availability of resources. All of these can be paramount in trying to determine exactly how AYP can be met. Of course, you know, not all students learn the same, so differentiated instruction is a very big part of that. We know that technology is very important because we live in a technological age, and students are very savvy when it comes to this sort of thing. So how can we implement technology into our curriculums to help students be successful? How can reading play a significant role? What can we do to teach students effective measures in not only preparing for tests but doing well in tests? And then, of course, we have to determine just exactly how are school systems different. We know that many school systems could be getting supports that other school systems may not be getting. Some school systems are disadvantaged from others. So how does that play a role in determining AYP? And as we're going to see in these video clips, it's going to cover exactly measures that can be done to help with differentiated instruction, as well as assessments and, of course, technology.
A fraction with the same number on the top.
This first video takes a look at some of these styles of differentiated instruction.
Elementary, students are assessed early and often.
2 ninths plus 3 ninths plus 1 ninth.
Some of the tests are fun, and most of them employ the latest technology.
Would someone like to share what they put?
I put A because I added 1 plus 2 plus 3.
The goal is to find out where each student is, and then devise an individual learning strategy that will help them get to the next level.
The purpose of this is just to illustrate exactly why it's important to differentiate instruction and how that helps students become successful academically, which in turn could help increase those AYP test scores. What we're going to do is just take a look at how that instruction can be differentiated in a variety of ways.
Students who are in teacher education programs learned how to kind of teach down the middle and do a little here and a little there. Well, we know that that's not right for children, and there's no such thing as a regular classroom. Our school is a microcosm of the world, so we work very hard to make sure that we know where children are. We don't take time to teach things that they already know. We try to know where they are and take them as far as we can.
Absolutely. Did you want to add to that?
You'll see the students are at different stations working on different projects and different tasks that they need to accomplish. The students are self-directed. They know what it is that they are supposed to be working on, and this enables the teacher to work with children as a facilitator and also provide extra attention in areas where it is needed.
Martha Washington, there she is.
Everybody's showing their learning in a way that is comfortable to them. They're learning the subject matter that we assign, but they're expressing it in different ways.
At the beginning of the year, we do a variety of assessments. We have our MAP testing, which is a computerized assessment, and it gives us feedback as far as different literary strands and mathematical strands. And it breaks it down for each child and let us know what range they're in and how we could better group them, how we could better teach them within those groups.
I decided that
Basically what she was saying is that formative assessment is very important because it helps identify what the strengths and weaknesses are of these students. Therefore, we know what to focus on during the course of the year to see what we can do to help these students be successful by the end of the year, especially when they have to take high-stakes testing, which, as we know, is a very large component of No Child Left Behind.
Works with them.
It's work that's well worth it. When you see how far they've grown, not only in terms of numbers and scores, but you see their ability to do things at the end of the year that they couldn't do, quite frankly, or couldn't do well at the beginning of the year. You feel a sense of gratification, and that's, why we're in it.
That might be good.
And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we also want to take into account how technology plays a significant role in helping students become academically successful. We know that students are very technologically savvy, even more so than many of their teachers, and it's important for us to play to that strength. If children are good with technology, then we should incorporate more of that into our instruction to ensure that they can continue to be successful in all facets.
Technology is ubiquitous here.
You ready to check that out? Go ahead.
From the biometric system used to check out library books, to student response systems,
2 nights plus 3 nights plus 1 night.
to whiteboards that bring the world to the classroom.
My friends and I will be so happy to start with our Arabic national anthem.
To keyboards.
Actually, there are probably a number of schools that have as much technology as we do. I think the difference is that at Forest Lake we use the technology and we maximize it. And the only way to do that is to constantly train and to constantly think ahead to find out what technology is applicable and helpful and can be used as a tool for academic achievement.
The question we have to ask is whether AYP has helped or hurt the quality of education. And my hope that through the various studies I've researched, as well as talking with various cohorts, as well as co-workers, other teachers, other professionals, is to find out truly if that is the case. Where does everyone's opinion lie? Does it help? Does it hurt? Hopefully we'll have that question answered soon. Thank you.